Attention Caribbean authors and creators. Are you looking to elevate your literary journey? This is Kevin George, your host and presenter from TLC Tropical Literature Creatives, and I'm thrilled to share an exciting opportunity with you, introducing our bespoke promotional services designed exclusively for authors of Caribbean heritage. Whether you're a seasoned professional or a rising star, we're here to amplify your voice. From getting the word out about your book launch, your self-publishing services, or workshops, to sharing services that you offer to fellow authors and creatives. Visit our website or reach out to us today to explore how we can tailor our expertise to showcase your literary brilliance. Let's unlock the next chapter of success together. Greetings, listenership. Welcome to TLC Tropical Literature Creatives, a program where we interview Caribbean authors and creatives about themselves and about their literary works. Today we have with us the compelling Camille Jeffers. Camille, welcome to TLC Tropical Literature Creators. I got your name correct, did I?
The surname, no, is Jeffers, Camille Jeffers, but
yeah.
that's fine.
Okay. It's important that I get that right because I have this really bad habit of, so you know the bad habit that I have. So now that you have corrected me going forward, Camille Jeffers. Now I know. All right, so Camille, welcome to Tropical Literature Creatives.
Thank you for having me.
Seeing that you have Trinidadian heritage, there's a question that I ask all the persons, who I feature on the program. I give them a scenario, and it's essentially this. When it is that, let's imagine I'm coming to Trinidad for the first time, and we encounter each other at the airport. What advice would you give me as to what I should try as I am in Trinidad, like a food that I should try, a place I should visit? What should I try, Camille?
Okay, so I'm a foodie. So I would always recommend food. So there's this food strip. I don't know if you can call it a food strip, but there's a food strip called Woodbrook Yard. In there are local chefs and food trucks. So there's Jam and Juice is one of them. I think they carry products from Chow Addicts as well, which is a well-known chow business.
Okay.
So I would definitely recommend there. I mean, there's Arapita Avenue itself, where there's doubles, there's roti, then there's the regular items like pizza, wings, all these things. But I think Woodbrook Yard is one of the best options to try if you're looking for something local, inexpensive, and definitely tasty.
Okay, everyone. Recommended by Camille herself, when you come to Trinidad. Okay. All right. Well, tell us about your book, The Orphan Journey, Elizabeth's Beginning. I mean, can you give us like a brief synopsis as to what the book is about?
Okay, so the book is about a girl growing up in an orphanage. It's not the average orphanage that you would think about when you hear the word orphanage, but she had a very difficult past. So that caused her to be very introverted. But what happens is she befriends the dean of the orphanage in a very unlikely of circumstances. And they both realize that their past is connected in more ways than one.
That sounds interesting. So, seeing that you have written this book, what was your inspiration for writing?
It would mainly be the fact that I was always encouraged to write by my late English teacher, Mrs. Suzette Sylvester. Writing is something that would have come naturally to me. But I never really thought much about it until, teachers would be like, oh my gosh, you have a gift here, and you should nurture that. So that is actually where it all began. My inspiration for writing. That was like the starting point.
You seem like the typical young adult. You read books, you binge watch TV, you enjoy going to news, and you make plans that never seem to happen. Other persons, of your age bracket, we talk a big game, we have to visit, this Woodbrook Yard, and 2 weeks later, so guys, crickets.
Yeah, no.
But I mean, but seeing that you're a typical young adult, Can you tell us a bit about your history, like your background and your education, starting from secondary school? About you mentioned this late English teacher who had a significant impact on your writing.
Okay, well, I attended El Dorado Secondary School. Like I said, that's where my writing started. It
Mhm.
was nurtured there. After secondary school, I studied business management, music, and psychology, all at certificate levels.
Oh, okay.
And that was because they were all linked to some child-based business that I would have thought of. So
Mhm.
when I did business management, it was because I wanted to do business management and early childhood care and education to have to open a preschool.
Ah, okay, okay.
I studied I studied music
Mm-hmm.
because I realized that there are so many talented children in both Trinidad and Tobago, but they may not have the means to nurture their talent. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so I studied music so that I could have opened a music school for such children. I studied psychology because I think in our culture to speak about like mental health in
Mm-hmm.
general is kind of a taboo topic, especially a few years ago. So I studied psychology to kind of help children and young adults know that what you're going through is not just you alone that's going through this. You can talk about it, you can get help, that type of thing. So none of them worked out.
Okay, okay.
And I really sat with myself and said, time is just going by. And what is it? I decided to take stock of what I can do to positively contribute to the world around me. And I was like, oh, I write. So I thought I could use that as an avenue to still help in some way.
Okay, I mean, that sounds interesting. No, and I'm looking at your book, Orphan's Journey, Elizabeth's Beginning, and it seems that in your past you have worn many hats. You're not just talking about your education background. It seems that you would have been a clerical assistant. You worked in a candy store. You were a sales clerk.
Mhm.
Up to my present information, you're a personal assistant and
Yes.
time writer. So all these
Yes.
items of experience that you would have had, you would have used in putting this book together. Most persons, when they do writing, they usually write from a position of it's either a position of authority, as in something that it's something that they would have experienced, or it's something that they would have done research into.
Right.
Which one of these experiences that you would have had, can you say would have contributed the most to you putting this book together?
Well, I did not do any formal research.
Okay.
What I would have remembered is when I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
there were some children I would have met that were orphans. So they would be at mainly St. Mary's Children's Home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I would have interacted with them. I would have heard stories, and it's mainly that I remembered for this book. And it's not that I use those stories in the book. It's just that I wanted to create a different type of orphanage. An orphanage that I think these same friends that I would have spoken with would have enjoyed, they would have benefited from. That is how come I created this orphanage for this book.
Does that person's read your book? What do you want them to take away from it?
Well, I would like to think that my book, even though it's a fiction, it gives hope to some extent
Yeah.
that you can be going through very grim situations,
Mm-hmm.
but I think hope is one of the things that can really get you through all of that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
No. That's something optimistic. Is this your first book?
This is my first published book.
This published book, so there are others.
I have a second one that was published about 2 months ago
Oh.
called The Naughty Little Monster. It's a children's book.
Mhm.
And I have written about, off the top of my head, 5 more books that are yet to be published.
Well, we're going to have to get some more details on the Naughty Little Monster, but not just now. Why not now? Tell us a little bit about it. Not too much, but because you want us to buy the book, but give us a little bit about the book now.
so, so the book, The Naughty Little Monster, is a story of Well, from the title, a naughty monster
Mm-hmm.
that goes around playing these tricks on people, but he soon gets to realize that not everything is funny, especially when you're the only one laughing. So that's it. I don't want to give too much.
Okay. Okay, no,
So,
that's
yeah.
fine. That's fine. As that's the case, as you would have had two published books so far, are these books self-published or did you go through a publishing house to do them?
I went through Trinity Hills Publishing because so I have seen local books published a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't, from my experience, I didn't find that they met the international standard. Like when you compare an internationally published book and a locally published book, there are differences. You can tell the differences. So I was kind of skeptical about going with a local publisher.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember one Sunday, I read in the newspaper about a girl that had published a coloring book through Trinity Hills. And I was like, oh, okay, so let me probably call them, talk to them, and see where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up calling them and meeting with the owner, Dr. Mark Daniel, in person and discussing certain concerns that I would have had with publishing locally. And I was actually blown away from that first meeting. So, I think that we both came to a certain understanding about what I want for, especially my first published work.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we just went on from there.
Okay. As this was your first publishing experience, what lessons or what takeaways did you have from it?
So I always thought that publishing was, I write the book, I pass on the book, and that's it. The company does all the work and it's published. But no, it was not that. It was very hands-on. like I had the final say on everything from start to finish. So one of the things I learned is to definitely do not get lazy. Especially when it comes to the final draft, because what happened is that I read the Orphan's journey so much times during the editing process that when the final draft came, I just skipped over a lot of things. And it was when it was published, I noticed like some small grammatical errors, and I'm like, oh my god, I should not have been lazy.
Okay.
Yeah, some minor things, but I noticed it after, and then I would have like a friend or two call me and say, you made a mistake here. It's like, yeah. So that is a huge lesson learned. Do not get lazy.
All right. I mean, compared to, the orphan's journey and Little Monster and the Naughty Little Monster, you'd have learned from those and corrected the mistakes going forward, correct?
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Is there anything that made writing your book more difficult than it should have been?
The fact that I put a deadline on myself. I shouldn't have, because my publisher didn't. But I did. I'm like, okay, no, I want to get this book out here. I need to hurry up and do this. Instead of, taking a breath and, having some coffee and then, going on to it. And so I think I became a hindrance to myself where that was concerned. But again, lesson learned. That made it a little more difficult than it should have been.
Okay, no, and I like that because some of the authors who I've interviewed on this program, their books took them from as little as 2 years, and in some instances to as long as 10 years to get their book written and published. So yeah, I mean, it's good to have a timeline, to have deadlines, to be practical about the project. But sometimes, I've learned, sometimes it doesn't always stick according to the timeline that we set.
That's very true. That's true.
The books that you'd have written, how would you feel if some of it were to be adopted into the education system? Or let me try a bit more of a practical approach. You had intentions of opening a preschool. How would you feel if it is, your book, The Naughty Little Monster, was adopted into preschool education to help persons with their reading, with their comprehension, and helping them learn just, basic lessons that children should learn? How would you feel about that?
I think I'll be on cloud nine because, like I said, I believe that that we are here to positively contribute to the world around us.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
to have my literary work actually being used in schools or in education on the whole, that would definitely be a huge privilege.
Okay. Okay, no, that's nice. That's nice. Thing is, you've accomplished a lot from the conversation that we've been having. I look at the jobs that you'd have had, clerical assistant, personal assistant, and you're adding writer to your repertoire of skills. Here it is that you've done your second book, and you're telling me that you'd have written more, they're just not published, and I imagine not published yet.
Yeah, correct.
So with all these things under your belt, what's next for Camille? What next do you have on your to-do list where your writing is concerned, or even just like your career on the whole?
I kind of enjoy what I do now, being a personal assistant, and I really enjoy writing. So I think what I would like to do in the future is probably a book tour, a Caribbean book tour. I can start off like there, where I go to different Caribbean countries, talk about my book, just get it out there.
Yeah, nice. I support.
So I think that's it. That would be next step.
Okay, all right. And in terms of advice for anyone who's listening to this program, who would have listened to what you had said and to listen to the accomplishments that you would have had, what advice would you like to leave with them?
I would just like to say that sometimes you may not have the support that you would like or that you think you deserve, but once you think that you are contributing to a greater good, then you should just believe in yourself and go for it. Get out there, do what you love, and that's it.
Okay. I mean, practical.
Yeah.
All right, Camille, I thank you very much for making yourself available. And we look forward to all the other books that you have written, but not published. But hopefully, when it is that we talk in the future, we would hear you talking about the books that you'd have written and published.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
You've been listening to TLC, Tropical Literature Creators. If you've heard something of interest or something you like, reach out to us. Reach out to our authors. Follow us on social media. We look forward to hearing from you.